Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Athena McKay, the Executive Director of Flint Innovative Solutions. We welcome you to Taking It to the Streets, Healthy Conversations for Us, by Us, COVID-19 and beyond. A special thanks to all those who will be joining us. Please do like and share this live information so that others can be informed and make informed decisions about their health. As you may know, if you've been following us now, we want to make sure that you know that we are on Facebook Live as well as YouTube. We are now doing this monthly on the second Sundays. This production is brought to you by grant funding from the Community Foundation of Greater Flint and NICE funding mechanism, which is a national network to innovate for COVID and adult vaccine equity. We at Flint Innovative Solutions have developed a project called Genesee County COVID-19 Portal, or GCCP, where we have worked with local faith-based organizations, community centers, and our very talented and gifted and caring panel at Michigan United. We've provided a total of 24 shots in the arms through those partnerships of vaccines and boosters. We've also developed a mobile app called GCCP, which is a centralized place to find vaccine clinics, testing sites, and other community resources. Introducing to some, our distinguished panel, Dr. LaTressa Gordon, Nurse Tanya Battle, and we also have a special guest today, Miss Carol Avery from Mount Olive's GriefShare Ministries. To further our conversation, as you know, the holidays are upon us, and this is not always a joyous occasion or season for everyone due to loss and grief. So we wanted to bring this information to you on ways to better cope with grief through these times. And of course, we know that COVID was a tremendous burden on all of us. So we'll turn it over to our panel. Dr. Gordon, I'll ask you first if you would like to share some best practices that you would like to share with the audience on how you're able to deal with grief.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having us again, Athena, and for tying up Ms. Avery. For grief, we all know that there's 5 stages of grief, and we'll go over 5 stages right quick. Anger, when you first lose a loved one or lose a loved one, you become angry through the process. And then the next stage is bargaining, you want them back. Depression is the next stage. And then you have acceptance. And you know that you go between these different stages at any time, and there's no set amount of time for grieving. But things that I've, as far as coming up with the holidays and grief, I lost my father to lung cancer on December 23rd. So for me, Christmas, it put a damper on Christmas. So I try to stay grounded and try to remember the good memories, things, about him, just in praying, a lot of praying, and just relying on other family members for strength or friends to talk to them about it. Because there's no, you want to move through there, but like I said, my father's been gone for almost 30 years, but I still find periods of sadness or grief coming. So I just use prayer, grounding techniques, mindfulness, deep breathing, and like I say, a lot of prayer. And it's just, just allowing myself to, if I need to cry, or just express what I'm going through. That's how I kind of move through the different stages of grief with my loved ones that I've lost, or that's the way that I deal with grief. Just mindfulness, deep breathing, prayer, and just talking to other family members or friends of how I'm feeling. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to Athena.
Thank you. Those are some great suggestions. Tanya, same question, ma'am. What are some ways that you're able to deal with grief?
Good afternoon, everyone. I agree wholeheartedly with Dr. Gordon. Again, just allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you feel. If you feel angry, if you feel fear, if you want to cry or yell or scream, allow yourself and and acknowledge those feelings. Allow yourself to feel that and know that it's okay to not be okay at that time. Seek professional help. Seek a grief counselor, or some type of a counselor to navigate through how you're feeling and to navigate through the grief. And it's okay to have a counselor or a support group that many of the people are feeling the way that you feel, or have been there, and they can help you navigate through what you're feeling and through the grief. But just know that it's okay to not be okay, and to seek help if that's what you feel you need, and it's okay. And be kind to yourself during this grief time. And I'm going to turn it back to you, Athena.
Thank you, Tanya. Very wise words. From some of you, most of you may have known that I buried my mother last Friday, and it's been a roller coaster of emotions. Sadness, grief, loss, joy that she's no longer in pain. And so I really would like to echo both of what Dr. Gordon and Tanya said. I've been able to, with the support of so many, I'm really overwhelmed by how much love I've received. Special shout out to Lawrence Moon Funeral Home for such a beautiful service. Divine Grace Ministries, Apostle Bobby Johnson and Prophetess Johnson, who hosted us, and my family and friends, my co-workers, and my spiritual family at Triumph Ministries. It's been it's a different experience, and I'm able to and it's funny too, and I'm not gonna belabor it, but this is what this time is for. Tanya and I had conversation. It's like, what should we have the topic on? And then we said grief. And then next thing I know, I'm like, oh, I'll take that. And so laughter and humor is one of the ways that I deal with just life in general. And so just those two nuggets I like to share. Take time and be kind to yourself. If you notice that most of us have flower roses background, I did this intentionally. We use coral, and roses were my mother's favorite. So I'm representing Miss Lucille even in this time. So this we want to show, but I want to say, get your tissues, because we have a specialist on the line who may break us down a little bit more. But it's okay. Tears are good. Don't be ashamed to laugh, and embrace the emotions that you go through, and also remember the memories, those good memories that will propel you through grief. We are going to I do want to highlight a community resource about grief. Alita, if you could bring up slide 4 for me. Ongoing, the Genesee County, the Genesee Health Systems does have a resource for us when we are going through grief, whatever stage you're going through. There are grief support systems on Thursdays from 4 to 5:30. It is free to adults, and you can contact them at 810-257-3777 to sign up. So understanding grief responses, connecting with others, remembering loved ones in a positive way, and coping with changes related to the loss, and links to other resources. They're also having an open house for their new facility coming up soon. So we want you to know that you are not alone in this time throughout COVID. And again, we provided this resource, not only COVID related, but also other health concerns. Your mental health is tied to your emotions. So Let's keep it rolling. I'm going to bring up Nurse Tanya back up to share some information about COVID-19.
All right. We are still in the pandemic. We are, it seems that we're on the downside of things. We, as of November 7th, we have reported 254 cases with a 12.5% testing positivity rate. Our deaths are down less than 5% or greater than 5%. And our hospitalizations are down as well for COVID. So our upcoming, we still continue to offer the vaccine. We have our standing vaccine clinics coming up this week on November 15th. On Tuesday, November 15th, we will be at Our Lady of Guadalupe on Coldwater Road from 12 to 2, as well as November 17th at Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church from 3 to 5. That is the Genesee County Health Department. And also on Friday, November 18th, Michigan United will be in partnership with the Genesee County Health Department. We'll be at Hasselbring. I believe the time is from 3:30 to 5:30 on November 18th. And then the following week, we will have no clinics because we want to allow those hardworking people who have been doing our clinics for so long time to be with their family during Thanksgiving. And we'll resume on November 29th at Our Lady of Guadalupe again. And also, we just, want to remind everyone to, get boosted if you haven't, or get the information and make an informed decision to do so. It's been proven that, the booster does provide protection. It's not 100% that you won't get COVID. However, the illness is not as severe if you're boosted. And we are offering the booster for ages 5 and up. I believe we have 6 months. We have it for the babies as well, but not every clinic offers it for the children. So before you go out to a clinic, if you're planning to get your kids boosted, just make sure that clinic is offering the booster for children. And also, please continue to get tested. If you've been exposed, if you're having unexplained symptoms, or, we are in flu season, we're in RSV season, on top of COVID as well, please continue to get tested. Some of the testing sites, Walgreens on Davidson Road test daily from 9 to 5, Hamilton Community Health Network on Clio Road, as well as on they have a site in the Burton Fire Station on Bristol Road, and they test on Tuesdays, Thursdays, every 10 minutes. You don't need an appointment. It's just walk in, as well as Rite Aids. And there's several Rite Aid locations that are doing testing daily, as well as our 3 pillars that have been testing throughout this whole pandemic. Word of Life Church on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 to 6. Bethel United Methodist Church, Tuesday, Wednesday from 10 to 4, as well as Thursday from 1 to 7. And Macedonia Baptist Church on Monday, Friday, and Saturday from 10 to 3. And again, those are they're walk-ins. I believe they do take appointments, but you don't necessarily, an appointment is not mandatory at this time. And we also, want to remind everyone, that we do home visits. If you have someone who is homebound, or some people just still don't feel comfortable coming around the crowd, we will come to you. We will come to you. And the call center number for the Genesee County Health Department is 810-344-4644. 4800. You can call that number and we can get set up for a home visit to get your vaccine or your booster. And I'm going to turn it over at this time to Doc G.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, November is Lung Cancer Awareness Month. Each year, 228,000 Americans are diagnosed and 160,000 die from lung cancer. One of the main causes is the use of tobacco products, exposure to secondhand smoke. The two combined represent the number one cause of a preventable death in the United States. Smoking harms nearly every organ in your body, causing serious health conditions. Quitting smoking results in immediate health benefits that increase over time. And it's just a quick timeline. The timeline for quitting smoking, just after 20 minutes of stopping smoking, your blood pressure and pulse are going to return to normal. 8 hours, your oxygen levels will return to normal. Over 24 hours, your lungs are going to start to clear that phlegm or mucus and debris that's been built up. In 48 hours, the nicotine in your body, you're going to have a better sense of taste and smell. By 72 hours, breathing is going to become easier. And then between 2 to 12 weeks, your circulation is going to improve. 3 to 9 months, the coughing, wheezing, and again, breathing improvements. And then by 1 year, your risk of heart attack is the same as a person that's never smoked. And then as you progress on to 10 years, your risk of lung cancer is cut in half as of a smoker. In 15 years, the risk of a heart attack is the same as someone who never smoked. So we just want to advocate. We can't tell you what to do, but we just know that smoking and secondhand smoke is one of the number one causes of lung cancer. And it is Lung Cancer Awareness Month. And like I said earlier, I lost my father to lung cancer. So I'm an advocate for just awareness and prevention. So there's a number, 1-800 quit-now. And then you can go to the next slide, please. Okay, also, we're talking about how to prevent like almost a triple demic. We got COVID-19 still going around. We got influenza. They're projecting that the influenza or the flu is going to be pretty bad this winter. And also RSV, or respiratory syncytial virus, is taking America by storm. Pediatric units and ERs are being overflooded with this virus. It's a simple virus. It's coming during the winter months, usually around November to March. So we're actually in that time. And it can vary. It's spread with droplets from a cough, a sneeze, or an infected surface that gets inside your eyes, nose, or mouth. It's 2 out of 3 babies will get it, RSV, by age 1. RSV can go from a cold-like symptom to hospitalization in less than a week. Normally within 3 to 5 days, it can progress. The symptoms are usually just a runny nose, decreased appetite, coughing, that can progress to like wheezing. Through hospitalization, it happens only 1 to 2% of the RSV cases. It's not predictable which baby will be hospitalized. And babies are 16 times more likely to be hospitalized for RSV than with the flu. And adults can get RSV. I had a friend that had it last year, and she also had COVID. She said that the RSV to her was worse than COVID. And also, if you are immunocompromised or premature babies are more likely to get RSV. Preventable things is the same thing: hand washing, covering your mouth when you cough or sneeze, wearing a mask, staying at home when you're sick. If your baby's having trouble breathing, always check with your healthcare provider. If they progress, because easy 2-3 days, they can progress to something called bronchiolitis, which fills the small airways of the lungs with mucus and inflammation, or pneumonia. Those are the other 2 things that RSV turns into that cause hospitalization. So again, just stay at home when you're sick, wash your hands, and also that mask that still comes in handy. If you're in a crowded environment or out and about, you still can use that mask. That'll help with COVID, influenza, and RSV. So I would also like to turn it back over to Athena.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Nurse G, Dr. G. So a couple of quick notes before we bring our special guest up. Again, as Tanya mentioned, we are going to be gracious to our service workers, and they will not be having a clinic the week of Thanksgiving. So you need to get your vaccine and or your booster before then, if you so desire. And also, it is flu season, so please do go out and get your flu shot as well, and get your other vaccinations up to date. Last little point again that I would like to bring up is RSV. Excuse me.
Oh, I got the coffee with you. Get a little drink here. Okay, RSV. Again, RSV. Tanya is our expert with premature infants. She works in NICU. So she has over 31 years of expertise in caring for small babies. Tanya, do you have anything to say about RSV being on the rise? But we do, okay, that's not, okay. So, like I say, RSV estimated 58,000 to 80,000 children are affected, usually 5 years and below, but mostly it's the little babies or under like the 1 year old, but even adults can get it. Make sure, again, like I say, your hand washing. And then if you're immunocompromised and your child is premature, speak with your healthcare provider. There is a prophylactic medication that can be given, like an antiviral, that can be given to help decrease the exposure or decrease contracting RSV during this time. But as we know that a lot of hospitals, I think even we mentioned Nurse T, she does work as our Hurley resource person. So currently Hurley is the only pediatric NICU or has a pediatric ICU. They have their own pediatric ER. Ascension and McLaren, they also, if your child is ill, you can take them to the ER. Their Ascension is a level 2 trauma. I also worked in ER for over 15 years ER experience, which I have PALS, which is a pediatric advanced life support, EMPC, emergency room nurse course. So as you know, I'm transitioned from that, working in managed airways in the recovery room now. But in pediatric, you know, those are things that you look out for in the when you go to the emergency room. I know a lot of people, they get pulse oximeters. So if your child pulse ox is low or they're blue, or they're just notice that they're struggling breathing, get them, you know, into definitely if they're blue or grunting or making those wheezy noises, you want to get them to immediate care, because children, as we all know, they're not small adults, and their sickness or illness can advance rather quickly. Okay, Athena.
Thank you for stepping in. When I coughed, I started to make a joke and I went into a coughing fit. I was going to say something about, oh no, do I have RSV?
I know that's oh yeah.
I survived. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So let me jump in and bring in our special guest, Miss Carol Avery. She is a member of the historic Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church, in which is under the spiritual leadership of Reverend Cadley. She has been facilitating Mount Olive's GriefShare ministry since its inception in January 2016. Miss Avery, thank you for sharing your bio. Thank you so much for coming in today and sharing some wisdom. If you'd like to introduce yourself a little bit more and share some wisdom on grief and how we can cope through these seasons.
Good afternoon, Athena. Thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of this program. And I think I'm getting some feedback. Let me see if I can.
You should be all set now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to get out on my phone. Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to participate in this program today. As far as GriefShare is concerned, I have been facilitating the GriefShare program at Mount Olive since 2016, as you stated. And in that time, I have learned a lot about grief in general and how to deal with grief in particular. Some of the surprising things I learned about grief are that when it comes to our physical health, grief can actually manifest itself in our physical bodies. Specifically, sustained grief and the stress of grief can actually change your body chemistry. So, as we are experiencing grief, as we're going through the process of having grief, a lot of times our ability to navigate the challenges of life are affected by the fact that our brains have been physically changed as due to the sustained stress of grief. And because of that, it's imperative that we don't make huge life-changing decisions in the midst of our grief process. For example, if you have to make a decision about your loved one's possessions, in the middle of your grief is not the time to decide to sell everything that they own. If you can put off making those decisions, then that is something that you definitely want to do, because over time you will find that some of those possessions that you were in such a hurry to get away will be extraordinarily valuable to you in the future as you get past your grief and move to a point where you are learning to cherish the blessing of having that loved one in your life. I could go on and on, but I want to know if there's anything specific that you would like me to talk about as far as the grief journey and how to best navigate it.
Thank you for that introduction. I do want to ask our audience too, if there's questions that you have that you would like the panel to answer or address, please do add them in the chat. We have, of course, Dr. Gordon with COVID information, also Nurse T. But if you have a scenario that you would like Carol to address and or us as far as technology is concerned, please do add that in the chat. So, Carol, let me ask you, is it okay to call you Carol?
That's fine.
Thank you, ma'am. So, when we look at the holidays coming upon us, what are some of the ways, and I'll ask you the same question I asked the ladies earlier, what do you do for your self-care? For any, because it's as a service worker, you also sometimes take on those stressors. What are some of the things that you do for your practices?
One of the things that I've learned to do, or one of the things that I've found helpful, is as you're approaching the holiday, there is a lot of stress around that, especially if it's the first Thanksgiving or the first Christmas after you've lost someone. So what I found is helpful is to plan as much as possible what is going to happen on that day and have a plan in place ahead of time and not just let that day come upon you. One of the more helpful things that I've found in the course of having GriefShare is when it comes to Thanksgiving, when it comes to Christmas, these are such family intensive holidays. If there are traditions or habits that you can carry on in the memory or honor of that loved one, then it makes the holiday less stressful, less painful. For example, if there was a specific dish or a specific thing that that loved one brought to their holiday, someone else taking over making that dish is a way to honor and remember that person in your holiday. So I like to, one, have a plan in place, and then two, as much as possible, find ways that you can remember and celebrate the legacy of that loved one in your holiday season, whether it be Thanksgiving or Christmas.
That is excellent. Excellent. Tanya, I wanted to bring you into the conversation as well. What are, because you've actually brought some of this information to us previously. Is there anything additionally you'd like to share?
Yes, absolutely. Two things I would like to share, and there's support resources in addition to what you shared, Miss Athena. Moon's website has it's called 365 days of grief support, and they text you every day scriptures, and sometimes it's a scenario or it's a story, just offering hope and healing, as well as GriefShare also has theirs is called 365 days. It's called a season of grief, but they text you every day. And I find those very helpful. And they usually it almost coordinates with, with the season. It's called a season of grief. And so through the year, for a whole year, they text you every day. And so definitely those three resources. And again, just like Miss Carol said, just have a plan. There's going to be a birthday. There's Christmas. There's how it's a day. There's going to be a day, and then there's going to be, like you said, Miss Athena, emotional roller coasters. But just ride the wave. Allow yourself to do that, and you'll come out on the other. You'll come through it. You will come through it, but just don't stay there. If you feel like you're stuck and you can't, you just can't. You just can't. Just don't hesitate to get help.
That's excellent.
Definitely.
Dr. Gordon, go ahead.
I would also like to just piggyback on what Tanya said about the seasons of grief, that you can get that text to you or email to you. But for those of you who may be a little less technically savvy, there's also a book that follows along with that. It's also called Seasons of Grief. And you can get it on Amazon or in bookstores, anywhere else. Just look for Seasons of Grief, and it does have the same 365 days of information. So that's a low-tech solution to the same problem.
Awesome. Dr. Gordon, did you want to chime in? I know as you mentioned, it's coming up on the anniversary of your dad's passing.
Yes, my dad passed, and also noting that like each time that you have someone that passed, it kind of reopen that wound a little bit from like like my dad. Remembering going to different funerals, like my grandmother, and just for children, I learned with my granddaughter. She's 9 years old, and she was really close. I was close to my grandma at her hip, but she was also so close to her, and I didn't realize she's 9, but at the time she was 7. How much you actually have to seek help for her, because she doesn't kind of wrap her mind about great grandma is no longer here, and she just proud. I want grandma back. So we would just sit down and, like you say again, let's remember. I'll make sound like, well, grandma, act style like, you remember grandma? She'll say 99, and make her I use laughter as well, and just remember. That's one of my favorite things grandma did. What were some of your favorite memories? Or that's remember her and cherish her. So also remembering Carol, do you have anything for children, like any recommendations for children as well, especially with COVID-19, losing most of the relatives and parents during this time, or just in general?
In general, I don't necessarily have recommendations for children, but I will say that there are different things that you can do that should apply to children. For example, you talked about the different pictures or just the different memories. So if you can put together a scrapbook, and it might even be helpful to involve your younger people, put together a digital scrapbook of all the pictures of your loved ones. So that's a way that you can have a lasting memory. That's a way that you can bring to remembrance some of those happier memories. One of the things we do at the end of each of our GriefShare sessions is I pull together a presentation of all the participants' loved ones that they've lost. So we had an opportunity to celebrate that life, because so often what gets lost when we are experiencing grief is that we get so caught up in the sadness, so caught up in the loss, that we forget that there was a vibrant wonderful blessing that was given to us for a season, and that was that person's life. That was the laughter. That was all the happy moments. That was all the wonderful times that we were blessed to have with them. So by capturing those moments in a picture, either in a photo book or a digital photo book, you are giving yourself another way to have those memories, to revisit that blessing, to revisit that wonderful moment in your life when that person was a part of your life.
And Lorena, we want to say happy birthday to your brother on his birthday today. And thank you for sharing that and being transparent. It's and Carol, you said exactly what Lorena put into the chat, just cherishing those moments, and reflecting on how beautiful the time that they had together. I lost my dad Julie says, I lost my dad in August. This will be the first Thanksgiving without him. Every day I think about calling him, but I know I can't.
I would say call him.
Yep. Call him. And the other thing too, go ahead, Tanya.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Carol.
No, I was saying that a lot of times we feel like we feel that loss so acute during Thanksgiving, during Christmas, because that person is conspicuously absent from our lives. But at the same time, bringing together your family and, like, again, celebrating that person, taking the time to remember how that person would laugh, or even if they aren't there, present this example. Like my dad, there are certain things that the way my dad would respond to certain situations. So I find joy and I find happiness in bringing that person's personality or bringing memory to that person into our present circumstance. Yes, I know the pain of losing your father, but he is lost to you physically, but the memories and all the times that he poured into you are still in your possession. So as you celebrate Thanksgiving, as you celebrate Christmas, bring those memories to the forefront. Celebrate the fact that all the times, celebrate all the times that you had with him. Celebrate how he would respond to some certain current events. And I think about how my dad would respond to the former guy that we had as president. So just because someone is lost to you in the present doesn't mean that their memory is lost to you. Doesn't mean that they can't be a part of your life now. So I do as much as you can to celebrate that person. Be thankful for the fact that they were in your life, and just use those memories as much as possible in your presence to help you kind of balance the fact that you are sad, but you also were blessed to have that person in your life.
I'm sorry, I see you have your dad's cell phone, so that might be a little tragic for you calling and having it ringing. But we're here standing with you and praying with you, and we know right now is that it's okay for you to, like you say, to feel what you're feeling. I'm sorry, I'm kind of holding some flowers. To feel what you're feeling, you're gonna feel that a lot of times, like, kind of angry. Like, I know I went through that with my dad. I was only 21, he was 47, so I felt cheated. So over the years, all these different emotions that, sometimes, like, these people died, and, we lost a loved one, a 24-year-old cousin in a car accident. And that was like, oh my gosh, she was 24. I felt like somebody punched me in my chest. And,
right.
In our family, we lost a cousin to, COVID recently, but, like, I lost my father, and Tanya recently suffered a loss. But everyone deals with it differently. So you have to find, give yourself time, that grace, give yourself, like I said, be kind to yourself. I had someone tell me that, I didn't cry today, but now I'm crying. No one's counting how many times that you have to cry. God, he counts those numbers of hairs on your head, and he bottles up our tears. So it's okay to cry and to move back and forth, be kind of lucid back and forth through those stages. But the ultimate thing is to get to acceptance and to a place where, you're, not being totally affected with it, where, your day to day, but you are going to grieve, and everyone grieves differently, and just allow yourself, like Tanya spoke, and Carol and Athena, you know, how you go about that. That's okay to be not okay. So give yourself that grace, and you know, surround yourself with your loved ones and friends, and seek out a certified counselor through your church, or like GHS we put up there also has a great contact information.
Dr. Tessa, I'm going to have you come over and lead our grief share because you brought to the forefront so many points that we like to make in grief share. For one thing, grief is unique because that relationship was unique. So everyone grieves differently. The idea that you should look at professional care, because when you lose somebody, yes, that is a primary loss, but when you also have 20 to 30 secondary losses, so there's so many things surrounding that grief that come to the forefront. And going to GriefShare is obviously excellent, but you might need to seek out additional care. So there's nothing wrong with going to a counselor and talking through your grief. In one of the videos that we show in GriefShare, Liddy talks about you might just go to that counselor and spend the time crying because you're so overcome with that grief. But are if you need to get some extra help, then that's what you need to do. And this is kind of uh, a healthcare podcast. So if you think about it from the physical standpoint, if you broke a leg, if you lost an arm or a leg, you would get medical help. But that change would be a permanent change in your life. And while you might get medical help for the initial hurt, for the initial injury, in order to get back to proper functioning, you would have to go to therapy. So likewise, when you have a broken heart, when you lose somebody, you might come to GriefShare, you might go to therapy, you might do some initial things, but there's ongoing things that you need to do for the rest of your life, because losing someone is a permanent traumatic change in your life. So it's going to take time, and it's going to take effort, and it's going to take doing some things that you may have never considered doing before to get back to the person, or get back close to the person that you used to be. So like I said, you brought up a lot of great points about therapy, about grief being unique, and not being afraid to express those emotions.
Thank you for that. I do want to lift up two different types of grief. So you have loss of income, you have loss of mobility. So you may be an athlete and now cannot do the same things from a broken leg or whatnot. Then you have people who move or relocate. And so you have that loss of that safety net in your community and have to start over again. Those are all different types of forms of grief that you can be able to identify with. And so we don't want to isolate others that are going through grief, a different type of grief. So loss is loss. And we're not, if you have a two-parent household and one income is taken away, that changes the dynamics. With gas prices so high, you may not be able to do the things that you are used to doing. And so you can feel confined, you can feel hopeless and helpless, but there are many resources, and we've just named a few of those. But go and seek support. That is the biggest thing that we're trying to advocate for, whether it be a sister or brother, aunt, uncle, mother, father, if they're still with you, and then also professional help. If you're looking for employment, there's resources for that as well. So we don't want to isolate folks that are dealing with a different form of grief. Again, the grief is just the absence of something that you are used to. Anyone else want to chime in there?
Carol, do you have a number like for that someone can reach out to you for your support group or your services? Or is it the Mount Olive? Can they reach you?
Yes. If you dial the Mount Olive office number, which is 810-234-8168, and I believe it's on the flyer, so I will repeat it again for those who are practically scribbling it down. It's 810-234-8168.
Thank you for your that is a wonderful service that you offer to deal with the whole man, your mind, body, spirit and soul. So we thank you for that. And also, I'd like to lift up Tanya and Athena for your courage to come forth, your transparency through this time. Tanya has also suffered a loss of her nephew recently. And she, we just thank you for your always being a pillar to us and offering your strength, even during your time of grieving. And, she's still serving. She still serves. She still pours out into others. And so she still ministers. So we just want to take that time to lift you and Athena up and minister to you during this time. And thank you for your service to the community. Even when we are suffering loss or grief, we still know that we have to go forward and still Tanya, she takes that forward and she ministers to others with her. She has for her husband, she had the loss. And so with the smoke detector, she's becoming an advocate for that. And Athena's becoming an advocate. And Carol is an advocate. So if you see us out in the street, Nurse T is an advocate. So we even though we're grieving and encouraging, we're still here for you. So if you see us out, we'll talk with you and point you in the right direction. But I just want to lift you guys up and thank you for coming on and bringing this topic, a much needed topic during this time, and blessing someone with the information and tools to go through this process.
Thank you, Dr. Gordon. And Alita has put the information in the chat. We'll also share it here. Tanya, as we transition into our next segment, you have an exciting event coming up. Yeah. Did you want to share?
Absolutely. Yes. So our event, as Dr. Tressa mentioned, so I lost my husband. Actually, it was on November 20th of 2013. And from that accident, we were able to navigate and try and turn our pain into a purpose that will, help our community, help at least if it would help one person not have to go through what our family went through at that time. And so we created the Richard Battle Foundation, and our mission is to provide carbon monoxide detectors to everybody in need. And so our fundraiser is going to be on Friday, November 18th. It's going to be a hustle party fundraiser. So it's going to be, we want to have fun and dance and but we also have education because we have to have education. We'll have raffles and food and just come out and have a good time. The tickets are $15 in advance. They're $20 at the door. The time is from 7 to 11, or I'll probably be, I'll be ready to go. I'll be ready to go to bed before 11. But just if you can come out from 7 to 11, we'll be doing hustles. We'll be educating. We have T-shirts for sale. And again, all of the proceeds will go toward purchasing carbon monoxide detectors. And later in December, we will make the date known and we'll publicize it as much as we can. We will partner with fire departments and prayerfully Mount Morris Township Fire Departments. And we will have a carbon monoxide giveaway for anyone who is in need. And please don't wait until that time. If you're in need of a carbon monoxide detector, our numbers are right there. You can call 810-610-7507 or 810-813-0988. If you can't remember those numbers, dial 211 and they can put you in touch with the Battle Foundation for a carbon monoxide detector. And that's the flyer for the Hustle Party fundraiser. Again, it's at Hasselbring Senior Center next Friday, November 18th from 7 to 11 p.m. The tickets are $15 at the door. I'm sorry, they're $15 in advance. They're $20 at the door. We do have a cash app, and that's just $RAB Foundation. Just come out and have a great time and celebrate with us. And again, the proceeds go to purchasing carbon monoxide detectors for our community so that we can all be safe.
Thank you, Tanya. And Carol, would you like to go over your flyer as well?
Sure. You can you bring it up? Yes, thank you. As we mentioned, this part of the year, Christmas, Thanksgiving, it's extraordinarily challenging. So we are having a special session of GriefShare called Surviving the Holidays that will be on December 5th from 6 to 8 p.m. Please contact the church office at that same number, 810-234-8168 between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Tuesdays through Thursdays, because there is a book that goes with it. And to the right, you see the Zoom link information. This is going to be an online class. So just put in that information and this flyer will also be on, I will make sure that it is added to our Facebook page for Mount Olive. So if you don't have a chance to get all the information down right now, the meeting ID is 863-1200-9763, and the passcode is 179686. Again, this Surviving the Holidays will be on Monday, December 5th, 2022. And what this is it's kind of like GriefShare consolidated down into one session, specifically addressing the unique challenges that we have around the Christmas holiday and Thanksgiving holiday. It will give you some tools that you can use to help navigate that holiday and make it a little bit less stressful. It will help reinforce some of the concepts that we talk about in grief. For one of the concepts that we talk about that I found to be most useful is the concept of writing a grief letter. And that is a place where you can enumerate what you need and give that out to the people who are around you, your loved ones, the people that want to help. Because so often people say, well, is there anything that I can do for you? But in practical terms, you don't need some ambiguous thing. You need specific things. So by having that GriefShare letter written out, listing out the things that you need, and then you can give it to the people who could potentially help you, you are empowering yourself to get a hold of the things that are challenging you in the midst of your grief, but you're also empowering the people around you who love you and want to support you, but they may not know the specific things that you need. So I encourage you to please go out to our Facebook page, register for this event, and if you have questions, comments, just send those to our church office, and we'd be more than happy to address them.
Thank you for providing those resources. And we are wrapping up. That time went by so fast. We do have some announcements we'd like to share. As you know, GCCP is how we were able to initially join together. Alita, if you could bring up the slides. Genesee County COVID-19 portal is this resource that we have made available. It was designed by Flint Innovative Solutions and developed by Keeping Tabs. These markers, it can be found at flintinnovativeSolutions.org/GCCP. Testing sites, resources, the Flint Eats app, and trending data to help you make informed decisions like about travel. As we mentioned, the holidays are coming up. We usually gather together. So thinking about where our hotspots are, getting tested before you go to see your loved ones to make sure that you're not being put in harm's way or harming others. So those are some of the resources that are available through GCCP. Next slide, please. It is available on your mobile app, and we'll just keep rolling. Go ahead, please. Next slide. Thank you. Again, it can be found at flintinnovativesolutions.org/GCCP. The next announcement we are so excited to share with you is the Flint Eats app has now in its second phase. This app identified food resources for Flint and Genesee County to share quality and cost of food and food retailers. Our latest phase has added both pantries where you can get food from food pantries and recipes. Next slide, please. With the holidays coming up, we know most of you will be cooking or eating, one or the two. And so we wanted to put together a quick contest for the holidays for a chance to win $100 by putting your recipes in the Flint Eats app. It is available in the App Store as well as the Play Store. The recipe with the most likes, and once you dig in and log in and dig in and put in the information, you'll see how to like a recipe. That number one recipe over the next couple of weeks will receive a $100 gift card for having the community's favorite recipes. So if you have that cook, as Miss Carol said, you may have a loved one that has, or you may be the loved one who has that famous recipe that everyone loves. We strongly encourage you to put it in the Flint Eats app, and then also get your family to like it, share it, tag themselves. We want to get the community involved in sharing these resources so that they don't perish with our loved ones. I know my grandmother was able to give me her cookbooks, but that don't mean that my cakes taste like hers. And so it's important to use this community app resource to add your recipes so that we as a community can help mitigate the effects of lead in our community. Again, this can be found on our social media pages, Flint Eats app, as well as Flint Innovative Solutions. Also, changing the climate just a little bit, we know that crime is usually higher in this time of the year as well. Just people wishing that they could provide more for their family. Next slide, please. So if you see something, say something. Contact the City of Flint Police Department crime tip line so that we can all be informed and safe. Again, if you see something, say something. Call 911. Also, the tip number is 810-237-6957. Next slide, please. Ms. Carol mentioned low tech. We're trying to bring some low tech folks up to tech. And so Ms. Beverly Lewis at Hasselbrink Senior Center has opened her doors for the last actually 2.5 years, where Flint Innovative Solutions and our team has been able to come in and provide technical assistance for those to learn basic, intermediate, and advanced smartphone functions. So we meet you where you're at. We generally have a small raffle at every session. The next session is in a few days, this coming Thursday, November 17th, from 4 to 5:30. You do not have to register to come, but please do come on out. Or if you have a loved one, bring them as well to Hasselbrink Senior Center, which is at 1102 Home Avenue, this Thursday at 4 to 5:30. I believe that is my last slide. No, go back up one. I did that intentionally. I wanted to just blow this up. This is coming up this Friday. Miss Tanya has shared her passion, her pain with us. This is an opportunity for us as a community to wrap our arms around the Battle family and to come out and have a good time. The hustle party, again, is at Hasselbrink. You know, things are happening over at Hasselbrink. It's this Friday from 7 to 11 p.m. Tickets are $15 in advance, so hit Tanya up, or they're $20 at the door. If you need more information, call 810-610-7507 or 810-813-0988. We're working together to keep our community safe. And I wanted to also lift up Miss Avery slide again. This is why we're here. Today, we wanted to wrap our arms around community. We can survive the holidays together. This is another opportunity for you to receive the support from the experts, from caring, qualified people at Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church at GriefShare on Monday, December 5th from 6 to 8 p.m. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. Please do RSVP and log in to Zoom on December 5th from 6 to 8 for more information and resources. Last slide, and I am over 1 minute. Again, GHS has these ongoing resources for you all. And closing out, I will bring the panel back in and say thank you so much, ladies, for all that you do for the community. Thank you so much for bringing transparency and sharing your information, love, and passion. Join us here, community. Please like, share this information, and join us here next month on the second Sunday for Taking It to the Streets. Conversations about our health for us, by us. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.